Okay, we are at the midway point, basically, in the National Hockey League season. Some teams have roared past, like the Calgary Flames. Some teams are not quite there yet. But we are going to look at the NHL awards for the the current season here in the NHL. Let's start with Coach of the Year, and I think it has to be Jim Montgomery with the Boston Bruins. A season of tumult in Boston, where you have Patrice Bergeron leave, David Krejci leave. You have a lot of unprovens coming into the lineup, and a lot of people expected the Boston Bruins to just completely fall off the face of the earth. And the exact opposite has happened. They are one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference and the National Hockey League again. And so I do, like, credit has to go, obviously, to the Marchands and the Pasternaks and the young kids who have stepped up as well as the tandem that they have between the pipes. But I do think you do have to give a lot of credit to Jim Montgomery for just rolling with what they have, putting in a system in place to help them build, and just kind of go from there. So Jim Montgomery is my Jack Adams Award winner currently. My Norris Trophy goes to Quinn Hughes. I don't know how you can give it to anyone else at this point. He is leading the charge on a Vancouver Canucks team that kind of just fluctuates between first and second in the NHL right now, given depending on what the Winnipeg Jets are doing. But he has found another level to his game, and the dynamic approach he has to the offensive side of things makes him a real weapon with this Canucks team, and a massive part, as the captain now, a massive part of what has grown out in Vancouver. And, like, obviously, we are in such an amazing time for defensemen in the NHL, with Cale Makar stepping up every single year as well, and guys like Heiskanen and all of them as well. But I feel like this season, Quinn Hughes' play has just stood out above the rest to me. So Quinn Hughes gets the Norris Trophy vote. The Calder right now is Connor Bedard. That gets a little bit interesting as time goes on. How much time is too much time for this rookie to miss when there are other rookies who are stepping up, including out here in Calgary with Connor Zary? But, like, as of right now, if the awards were to happen today, it's him. Like, there is no question. He has been everything that is advertised. I'm going to be right on my, I think I'm going to be right on my Bedard under 30 goals this year, but I think only because of injuries. He doesn't have anyone around him, and he has been elite. It's been a remarkable performance from Connor Bedard to start this season, and one that absolutely would deserve this award for Rookie of the Year. My Vezina, just for a few reasons. Obviously, I think he's playing well, but maybe not his best season, but I do think that the Winnipeg Jets deserve some kind of recognition on here, and so I'm putting Connor Hellebuck as the goalie of the year. You can make a very compelling case for Adin Hill, but I feel like, again, Connor Hellebuck is one of the top goalies in the world, and his team is playing out of their minds. So I feel like Connor Hellebuck deserves the nod right now for goaltender of the year, which is obviously the Vezina Trophy. There are nights where it's like, oh, this guy simply is the best goalie on the planet right now. That has been quite the thing for him to do, and a huge part of what the Winnipeg Jets have been able to do this season. And now my Hart Trophy vote, and this one might be a little out there, I think, but I have to right now give it on the best player who is on what is looking like the best team, and that's Elias Pettersson on the Vancouver Canucks. There are guys who have more points. Absolutely there are. And honestly, this will probably end up being McDavid, right? Like, this will probably, he will likely go on what is already in the midst of just a ridiculous run, and end up leading the NHL in points, even though at the quarter point he was at 150th, and he will go on his way to win the Hart Trophy. But for right now, Elias Pettersson has been the straw that has stirred the drink with the Vancouver Canucks. He is a big reason why so many players on this team are having career years, and I think he is the biggest reason why, with all due respect to a lot of the other guys that are there, I think he is the biggest reason why this team has been able to exceed all of the expectations so far. If you take him off of this team, I think they're just kind of a middle of the pack team, but he has solidified himself as a top 10 player in the National Hockey League, and solidified himself as someone who has really stepped into this role as, like, one of the true great players in this league right now. Again, there are guys with more points, but I just think with how good Vancouver is playing and how important he is to that team, I think he deserves the odd of the MVP, which is the Hart Trophy. But overall, like, it's been a fun start to the season in the NHL. There's obviously been some weird stories and some downer stories. 100% there has been. But you look at what's happening in Vancouver and Winnipeg right now. You look at the types of playoff races that are developing specifically out west, but east as well. You have some marquee teams that are going to miss the playoffs this season. I think you have less bad teams this year as the Connor Bedard sweepstakes are over. And while we all appreciated what Macklin Celebrini did for Team Canada at the World Juniors, he ain't that dude. So I think that there is a real growth happening here with this NHL. We are in an amazing time for the league. Again, we have frustration about how several parts of the Blackhawks situation was handled. The Pride tape situation has been just an abysmal failure by the National Hockey League across the board. And obviously you can tell where I stand on that matter. There has been, I don't think officiating has been particularly good. But when you just look at the talent out on the ice right now in the NHL, there is no question about it that things are going really, really well for this league, and the sport of hockey is in a tremendous place. Not just NHL, right? Like the PWHL is balling out right now. The World U18, like it sucks that Canada drops into the bronze medal game, but that means other nations are coming, and that is huge for women's hockey. So it is such a great time to be a hockey fan if you just ignore the people in charge of it.